It's 2016 all over again. Once again, hardworking Americans are being called racist for objecting to having their generosity taken advantage of by overwhelming waves of immigrants. Over the weekend, the New York Times revealed that a massive fraud had taken place in Minnesota's Somali community, posing as charitable NGOs feeding the hungry or protecting the homeless or servicing autistic kids. Nearly 90 Somalis have been charged with embezzling up to $1 billion in government funding dispersed during the COVID pandemic. No children were fed, no homeless were housed. The money was spent instead on luxury cars, mansions, and real estate overseas. And when officials from the Department of Education tried to investigate, the Somali criminals threatened to sue and call them racist in stories that would be sprawled across the news. Can you even imagine being gifted the greatest privilege on earth, the gift of American citizenship, and then turning around and throwing that generosity back in our faces, stealing from the very people who gave you that gift? It is galling. And yet, the liberal cable news channels refused to even cover the story until they could make the Somalis the victims of it all, something that President Trump's comments on the story gave them the opportunity to do.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
The outrage that the president is giving voice to is completely justified. And focusing on his linguistic choices rather than the actual fraud is just a smokescreen for those complicit in it. It's exactly the kind of gaslighting that got Trump elected in the first and second place. For years, Americans who've been upset about the massive pressure mass migration put on their lives were called racist for wanting their government to think about what's best for America's children before thinking about everybody else's. For years, the liberal media called them racist, a basket of deplorables, xenophobic nativists, and haters for the crime of opposing their own disinheritance. Unbelievably wealthy pundits and Democratic politicians went on cable news and called working-class folks struggling to make it by working 3 jobs racists for thinking that maybe if the labor market was tighter, they wouldn't have to choose between chicken for dinner and soccer practice for their kids. Maybe if the government hadn't plonked 80,000 migrants into their town, housing wouldn't be as prohibitive. And those factory jobs, well, maybe they would be theirs. It's the immigrants who are the victims, the liberal elites insisted, and then went on to hire those immigrants to clean their homes and watch their kids and mow their lawns, paying them much less than they would have had to pay an American. The outrageous, massive fraud perpetrated by members of Minnesota's Somali community is this exact scenario on steroids. They literally threatened to call Minnesotans racist if they dared to object to being stolen from. But to the left, the only outrage is how Trump talked about the scandal. That's what we learned about America this week. The elites have learned nothing. Donald Trump won the presidency twice by telling the American people, you're not bad for wanting the most basic version of the American dream for yourself and your children. This is your country. You come first. The Democrats will never win back the working class until they can bring themselves to choke out some version of this message and maybe even actually believe it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.